Okay, good afternoon. It is Wednesday, January the 17th, 2024. Getting those dates better. Practice makes perfect. So this is like about my fourth or fifth practice video on showcasing my expertise expertise in the field of English language arts, mostly at the elementary level for approximately grades pre-K, first through fifth grade. That's my level of expertise. So I'm just going to do a quick synopsis of my expertise in that area in a video informally just for practice purposes for myself, Sarah Shannon. And so I'm in the workroom and I want to um, pan the camera around to summary of all of this is written by Sarah Shannon with the exception of this information. This is from the Elite Four resource site, which gives information about the STAR exam in Texas. And so this is all of this, however, is with the exception of this, of course, all self-written, self-created based on resources that I've had throughout the years. And so, I stated many times, I'm not technology literate. I'm very, very not technology literate, but I do try to do the best I can. And then as I get better in that area, because this is stuff that I've written like years ago. Like this is something I'd written around the time, several years after I graduated from college, when I started to spend time in the classroom, hands-on experience. I was stating in the video that I did before, the practice video that I was going to think about doing. I was saying how when I was in college, you learn about the people that, the researchers and people that have been in the field of education, for many years that have studied, what makes students successful and how do they master the information. So, many people that I learned about in college, in their philosophies, I didn't really know how to respond to it or what was the most effective. So when I started experiencing hands-on experience in the classroom with students, real students, and working with them, I started to realize the developmental levels and their needs based on my experience with them. And so I started to do a little bit more research. And so I spent hours and hours and hours in my summers and evenings just writing and studying, natural reading panels, strategies to assist students in learning how to read effectively. What are the most effective strategies, and then so I studied and I found out, through my studies and through my hands-on experience, and I would start writing the curriculum and then practicing in the classroom and then, self-reflecting and looking back and doing interpersonal reflection and asking myself, how does this go along with what's happening with me in the classroom? So from that, I was able to take it and write the curriculum. So this is a sample of the curriculum. All of this is from samples from the curriculum, extending the curriculum. So I've done this before, but this is just practice for me again. This is some examples of the objectives that students at the elementary level, approximately between 35th grade, 2nd through 5th, 6th, are supposed to master figurative language, what words, prefix, all those and everything. Main idea, which is now central idea in Texas, summaries, character traits, where they've shift that just a bit. Text structure, they have particular text structures that need to be able to master. As I've grown, they've changed throughout the years. I know that they've added a lot more. That they expect the students to learn the genres, the different type of genres. They expect students to know the various types of children's stories, genres, like fairy tales and fables and legends, and the characteristics, one or two characteristics of those particular genres. And so they expect them to know the 4 types of text structure that students in the text they're reading to know. So they've adjusted them a little bit. Most of the main ones are pretty much the same. They need to know figurative language terms, similes, antonyms, synonyms, homophones, depending on 35th, accurately, then you build upon it, as they get older, you start off at 3rd grade and then you build upon those and add to them, personification, metaphors, all those various objectives that students in Texas are supposed to master at that. These are actually from the Elite Four. This is from Elite Four resource online that I was able to study, and this is a release test for 4th grade students around the end of the year. That was the last year's test. I was able to get that from Elite Four. Lots of resources for teachers to be able to use. This is 2024. This stuff I've written many years ago, but I've been adding, updating it accordingly throughout the years and everything like that. So that's curriculum, and then so you can see these are extended. This is my game book that I created to go along with here's the game book, sorry. This is the game book that I created to go along with the curriculum. Games that extend those objective focuses. These are some samples from the game book. Again, me and technology, we're not the best of friends, but context clue, author's point of view, those objectives students need to be able to master. Story map elements, story structure, plot elements, multiple meaning words, and drawing inferencing. These are several games that I created myself, created by Sarah Shannon, from this book. I created to extend the objective focuses. And then these are some poems that are taken from this curriculum over here. That these are on summary, summarize the text and Pikes. Nancy and the Magic Ring, The Girl Who Loved to Cry, The Artist with the Special Gift. Okay, so these are some graphic organizers that I created to extend this book. Students to work on, and I've stated that before. These are some simpler ones. I actually like this one. This is really good. I like this one. Summary, most important part of the beginning, most important part of the middle, most important part of the end, and then character traits, motivations, conflicts, relationships, changes over time, and so and then these are some children's stories that I wrote. I'm going to have to update this one because I actually lost this story, so I'm going to have to write it again. But this was on one of the objectives, and then this was on, I think, compare contrast. This is a little poem that I've actually memorized by heart. It's a real cute little story poem that I wrote that I've actually memorized. And I also created an ebook through Book Creator, which is an awesome program that the district, I believe, still has. It's a really wrote a program that I wrote the story poem, but then I transferred over to Book Creator to make it. This is something that I did several years ago myself. I had somebody make the pictures, and I just took my story and just they created the pictures, and then I just took my story and really cute little story that I did. I had somebody do that several years ago when I first wrote this. The Jewel Town of Sanderville. I lived up on Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt was very concerned. That's how I've memorized that, and I also have an ebook on that based on Book Creator that I added recently. This is Monica Finch at Miss School for Girl, which I also called something else originally. I think it was, I just changed my mind sometimes throughout the years. I don't know what I'm doing. And then this is Real Princess. Also, you see it looks raggedy, but I also updated this on Book Creator, recently. And so it's a real cute little program, little stories that I wrote, and I was able to use the pictures from, I think it was, I can't remember the name of the program, but so I updated the Book Creator. So this is something I didn't memorize this, but I wrote this real cute little story based on the objectives in this book. They read the objective, they may participate in the game after they extended, they may participate in depending on the objective focus, they may do a graphic organize to extend the particular objective. They may participate in some type of activity and a song or rap, because I've also couldn't find, because I pulled all this together. So I couldn't find, I did several raps as well. And one of the reasons why I have this repetition, because through my research, and I've said this before, but this is just practice video. So through my research, I've learned that, Madeline Hunter, for example, she's one of the research-based specialists that I've studied, and she talks about how repetition is so important. And because I'm a Christian, about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, it repeats itself. So she says students should master the information and have it repeated 8 times. I don't necessarily think that that's necessary all the time. Maybe in some cases, absolutely, because there's students that are not developmentally, they need to repeat it that many times. But for some of the more ones that pick it up more quickly, you might not have to necessarily repeat it that many times. But for differentiated purposes, it might be okay. It might not be a bad thing to do that necessarily. But for the older ones, they might master it automatically. So you might move them on to something else, some type of additional enrichment activity or something. And then for the lower ones, you might differentiate the instruction by giving them something on their own or with the partner, like the OrCam. That's something that they're using right now that I think is a wonderful program. If you've heard about that, they for the little kids, after you introduce it to them and show them how to use it, you can send them over in a little corner and they can work independently on, it's like a little cute little instrument for the lower ones that, it helps them to, self-monitor, which is what I studied in my research. That's one of the most effective comprehension strategies that students can learn to assist them in mastering the information. They self-monitor themselves, so they ask themselves, how am I understanding and mastering this information? That's a very effective strategy that teachers can help students to use. So the OrCam will be wonderful to help those lower students to master their information. So you can send them, after you introduce it to them and show them how to use it, you send them in the corner. They have to, with the book, maybe have read it 3 or 4 times. Fluency is also the most effective strategy to use. And then once they've read that same book over, several times, and then they're using the OrCam to self-monitor their comprehension. Am I understand? Do I know these words? Do I know this book? Can I read it effectively? And then if they don't remember, they can independent, because once they eventually get dependent, eventually they get older, they can stop themselves and ask themselves on their own. After you introduce it to them, it reads it to them. It lets them point to the word, and then it says the word to them. They can ask it questions. It's a really wonderful thing to work with the lower ones. I love it. It's wonderful. I just recently did that this past year, I believe. And I think it's wonderful for lower ones because it gives them that independence to self-monitor themselves, which is actually what research says is very effective. And so you could, do that, or with the higher kids that are enrichment, send them on and do, what's they, like I used to tell my students before, if you get 500s or you get 595s, then I'm going to give you something else else to do that you want to do based on what you need to do, thinking about how to do an individualized educational plan based on those ones that master information, because if they've already mastered, there's no reason for them to sit there in a group with everyone else and keep repeating things that they're the only one who has mastered. So you want to give them something more enrichment and more challenging for them. So anyway, so that's something. And so these are to extend the curriculum. So once they've had the curriculum, they've had the various activities. I did some raps online. I have on YouTube, my YouTube channel, main idea rap, prefix rhyme. What are the other ones? Figurative language rap. So notice, why am I doing these raps? Why do I have these raps? Figurative language rap, main idea rap, prior knowledge princess song, figurative, there's another one I've done too. I can't remember, figurative language, main idea, prior knowledge princess, one other one. There's another one, I can't think of it. I can't think of one more. I can't think of it right now. Main idea rap. Did I say that? Okay. Anyway, so the reason why I have them do, maybe do a rap or maybe do, the summaries, funny little extension of the activities. I also written several skits, make it kind of funny, fun and exciting, so they're not just sitting there doing, worksheets all day, but you're diversifying the instruction because research shows that repetition is important. You don't have to go 8 times necessarily, like Madeline Hunter says, but you should repeat it, and then another thing one research that I've studied is, I think it's Kevin Wise. I think he stated that it's important to constantly let the students know throughout the learning process as you're doing your formative and cumulative and summative assessments, how are they doing, reviewing the information and just checking them, doing a multiple response strategy, throughout the lesson, before, during, and after, to be able to make sure the students are mastering it, and then adjusting accordingly throughout the instructions. So, giving them the repetition, let them know, that's one of the most recent, National Reading Panel says that's one of the most highly effective strategies to use with students is, that's like they had 16 that were mostly effective and then 7 that were the most effective. And teaching a combination comprehension strategies is most important, but one of the things that they said was most effective is not only the self-monitoring, like I said, but also letting the students repeat the information and then comprehending what they're learning in a variety of different ways. So you might have students, do a game or something like that, in addition to the deductive. You might have students sing a song, that's Howard Gardner, who's another researcher that studied as well, talk about the multiple intelligence of students and how you address all those diversified needs. You might have the students do a dance or do some work with their hands, for lower ones, you might have them, just, work on take a dry erase marker, or even use like shaving cream, practice the letters, make kind of fun and interesting how you want to do it. But this is just what I did it because it's repetitious in a variety of different ways. You might sing a song, you might play a game, you might read a story to extend information, you might, and then you give them an assessment, and then at the end of the lesson, when you do the cumulative assessment, you can figure out the students master, because it's very important they master information, which is very important to me. So that's why I wanted to repeat it, because I didn't want them, because Harry Wong, who stated in his research of the 3 characteristics of most effective teachers, is that you have to make sure the students master. That's one of the characteristics. The other one is effective classroom management, and there's one that has high expectations. Teachers that have really high expectations for the students, who really believe the best in them, can be amazing. So, so I just want to give a summary of all that, and I think I said everything. This is practice. I probably messed up. I don't know. I have to listen to it again. Oh, and that's one of the other, I talk about in my research. I've done the most effective strategies, and there's multiple different strategies you can use to assist students, and so, strategies that you use, you can diversify them, however, according to the particular objective, but, so I'm just practicing this. So, so I was talking about how voice recorder, that's one of the strategies that I did recently with my students in writing, because I'm a writing teacher as well, and I can show you my writing book. And so in writing, I would have them, once they write a story or a constructive response, they take their laptops or their phones if they have them, if they're allowed to do that, and they record themselves reading what they wrote to themselves, and then they can self-monitor themselves, another comprehension strategy to assist them in saying, did I write this? How does this sound when I read it to myself? How does this sound? So I'm going to look back at this and see. I probably think I just messed up a moment ago. So because that's a very effective strategy in addition to multiple response strategies many districts are using, and all the others got a release method, and all the other ones that people are using. So anyway, this is fun for me just to practice to see how much I've grown. So you can see, here's my writing book right here. Where is it? This is my book I did for lower kids, teaching them how to read, in my writing books right here. Let's see, get some tries and all that, everything that I've written, and I think that is everything. Oh, this is perfect. Oh, this is really good that I just created. I love this. This is wonderful. So this is the verbal response question sheet that I created, and look at this. This is for This has helped the students to work on their communication skills, and these are based on the specific objectives that 3rd to 5th graders need to be able to master for the STAR test. This is wonderful. 5 genres, well-known children's stories, verbally shared an example of 4 active vocabulary words, responsible prefix, suffix, figurative language, 5 main story map elements or plot elements, so on and so forth. So, and then this is the purpose correspondence sheet that I created, which this is verbal. They get in the corner with the partner. They practice this verbally, 2 or 3 times a week. At the end of the year, they have it mastered. And then right here, they're reading purpose correspondence. It's something that you can have. I have to figure out how I'm going to do this, but after they've mastered all the objectives. This is for after they've mastered, not at the beginning. You can, I have to think about my theory about that, but I think you can probably introduce it to them and help them, guide them through it the first couple, like 2 or 3 months, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they don't have it mastered. If they don't know it, then how are they going to know it, But like go over with them, repetition again, and then have them work independently on it after that. And then this is a written response, something similar to this, of the objectives that just sums them all up. Like this is story elements, this is cause and effect, this is main idea, this is summary, depending on fiction. I just did this. This is from the district that I work in. This is not mine, but this is on central idea, main idea. And this, I'm sorry, it looks like this. I have to make it better or whatever. This is mine. I created on character traits. And then this is plot. This is something I got from the district. This is from the district as well that I got that work there. That's not mine. And then these are some sort of constructive response they need to prepare for the STAR test, inferencing, and yeah, so as you can see, and this is an extension game that goes along with that. And this works on, same thing, repetition, the objectives that they need to master. I'm going to update this accordingly when I get a chance. Oh, hope you enjoyed that. God bless.